Hello, Niko.
Hi, Nick.
How are you?
Fantastic. How are you, sir?
I've been better. I've been better. It's
Corrupted audio file.
it happens to the best of us.
Corrupted audio file.
It happens to the best of us.
All right. Anyways, two friends, Nick and Niko, lifelong Batman fans.
Yeah.
Recently, we went to go see Matt Reeves' his new movie, The Batman.
Starring Robert Pattinson as Batman.
With Paul Dano as the Riddler. And, your other big character was Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah, Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman.
And those were like the main three promotional characters. But, spoiler free, would you like to get us started?
Yeah. I'll start with what I liked about the movie. I thought they nailed the tone, and I thought the city of Gotham is... I'll go out and say it's my favorite Gotham City portrayal in a film. I think they were fully embracing Gotham is just a shithole. It's filled with like crime, and the police are corrupt. The whole government is corrupt, and everyone is depressed in this movie. And I thought that was actually like it was a good idea. It was fresh. It was a good take on it.
It was fresh compared to like every other portrayal that we've seen.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen anything kind of living and breathing in the way that the Arkham environment was set up in the video games. The cinematography was really nice. The way they played more with shadows and lighting than they did in kind of like the Chris Nolan trilogy, for instance. Everything was set in kind of daytime.
Yeah.
And it was Batman is hiding in the shadows, but this time it's like Batman is the shadows, and it's you make out what you can see based on what the light is hitting. I thought it was really nice. The cinematography was great. I don't know if I just said that, but it just looked like a Batman film.
It did. The city felt like the Gotham City from the Arkham games, like you said, like from the comics. That it's just dark, completely horrible
neon signs everywhere.
And the Batman character in this movie, he feels that. He starts out the movie by saying, I've been doing this for 2 years and I don't know if I'm having an effect. Like, he's like, crime is up. I'm basically useless. Yeah. But also, like, they're starting to get scared of me. The criminals are starting to get scared of me.
Which, no, they showed that really nicely.
Yeah, they did. They did. The whole opening was really good.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, this was right after the Riddler in his first attack. Because
we probably shouldn't.
He's gonna kill people. Obviously.
Yes,
he's the Riddler.
Yes.
But
the movie is a murder mystery.
Yeah, they first start off with that, and then it goes right into Batman and his like diary, which I liked the whole self-reflecting diary kind of narration through parts of the movie.
Yeah, it shows his
thoughts, his struggle.
Yeah, his thoughts and his struggle, and the fact that he is completely consumed by Batman. This is a movie where you hardly see any Bruce Wayne, and I would argue you see no Bruce Wayne. Even when he is Bruce Wayne in this movie, he's just not talking to anybody, and he's just looking depressed. And
even in
needs a haircut.
No, his hair. I think his hair was fine. It suits him in this movie.
It's emo. It's emo for sure.
A little bit, but as you said, he's not Bruce Wayne. And in the scene in some of the scenes where you see him, he like just puts on sunglasses, and he's not Bruce Wayne anymore. He's just a cool guy.
Yeah, but I thought that was all done really well. I thought the narrative was good, and I thought like the story, the setup of like, okay, we're going for a noir detective murder mystery film. I thought they nailed that. I thought like all the crime scenes were done really well. Batman has really cool tech, which we could get into in spoilers a little bit.
But he uses them effectively.
Yeah, he
in
does.
This movie, and a lot more. He not relies on it, but
it's definitely more a part of the narrative here than it's ever been in any Batman movie. The just aspect of, okay, a lot of what he's doing is detective work. And working closely with the police and working closely with Gordon, who is fantastic in this movie. I know you liked him a lot.
I did. Jeffrey Wright and Colin Farrell, who was the Penguin, those were my top two kind of side characters of the movie. The relationship with Batman and Gordon, it's great. It's a real great callback to the comics or the animated series.
It is. It's fantastic.
Not buddy. I mean, kind of buddy, but like they're they don't trust the rest of the police department. They know
Gordon doesn't trust anybody in this movie besides Batman.
Besides Batman, he's like, well, shit, man, I don't even know who you are. Do you even trust me? And like, it's just this whole growing friendship.
Yeah, it's a friendship partnership type of thing. It was cool. It was really good.
Which it was different than Gary Oldman and Christian Bale's portrayal of Batman and Commissioner Gordon, but it was still very good. It was still they rely most on each other.
It was different. It was fresh, and it was cool.
Yeah.
I really liked Catwoman in this movie. I thought she was. I thought the Selena Kyle portrayal here was better than the Selena Kyle portrayal in The Dark Knight Rises.
It's a lot grittier.
I didn't love Anne Hathaway in that movie.
She was fine.
She broke
that one IMAX camera.
Yeah, that's
that was a cool $500,000.
Cool tidbit if you ever want to look that up. How Anne Hathaway broke an IMAX camera on the set of The Dark Knight Rises. But Zoe Kravitz, for me, she was great. I thought she fit really well into the tone that they were building here, and the relationship between them had so much sexual tension that was all nonverbal, and I thought Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz did that fantastically. I wanted to mention that. I know you didn't like that as much, and we'll talk about that in spoilers.
Yeah,
but
we'll get more into that.
I really liked it. I thought she was one of the standouts of the movie for me, along with
she was
Jeffrey Wright as Gordon.
But everybody's gonna point out Catwoman, obviously. That's why I wanted to.
Yeah.
But Penguin's dope. Love Colin Farrell.
He was great. He was funny and he was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's. I think then you want to get into what we didn't like. I will just say I think the movie set up everything fantastically in the first two acts.
Yes.
And then the third act just fell a little flat for me.
It dragged a little bit. I think. I mean, it's a Batman movie. This isn't exactly a spoiler, but it's there were a few too many punches included in the final edit of the film at that third act.
Just some predictable moments.
They could have cut some things out, and the narrative wouldn't have changed at all.
Yeah.
Or very, very minutely if they just cut it out.
And then there were some scenes at the end I just didn't think were necessary.
Yeah, there were a couple of scenes that were questionable.
Yeah.
One that I wish they didn't include in the movie at all.
Yeah.
We will talk about that. That's spoiler territory, but so should we rate it?
Yeah, let's rate it. Do you want to go first?
So I think depending on the day, if I'm super biased talking about Batman films, this is a 9 or 10 for me. If I'm being realistic, the movie's probably an 8 or 9. An all-around score that I think reflects how I felt about the movie would just be a 9. I don't think it was as perfect or as flawless as The Dark Knight. Obviously, that third act kind of brought it down just slightly, but I think it was a really good time. Yeah,
it was a great time. I would recommend it to anybody. And I'm going to give it an 8.4. Which is a little lower, but just because of the third act kind of just fell flat for me. It was just not good. Or not as good as the rest of the movie. Comparatively. It was good, but not as good as the rest of the movie. And then there was another aspect that we will talk about in the spoilers that I think both of us weren't super happy with.
Right. But still, I mean, this is a great movie. It's a very comic accurate depiction of Batman. So if you are into the comics, you'll probably like this. If you're into any of the animated series, you'll probably like this.
Yeah, or if you're even into darker detective mystery films, I think this is good.
A lot of people didn't like how dark this movie was.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, oh, this is too dark for Batman. They're like, Nolan's was already dark, but this is Batman.
Yeah, this is Batman. I think this is the character.
Batman just chases serial killers and mass murderers. What do you want from him?
And where this fits into the landscape of other superhero movies right now, I think that there isn't enough
this is the best superhero movie
well, yeah, there aren't good dark movies out. This is something different than the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies that you've seen recently, where it's just
they got good movies.
You can follow its 3-act structure to a T pretty much, and you know what the characters are going to do, you know what the jokes are going to be.
I don't agree with a lot of things Ben Shapiro says, but he was reviewing he was reviewing Batman films, and he was like, well, what I think about the Marvel films is like, they're good, but I don't need constant jokes reminding me this is a comic movie. It's like, and I agree with that. Like, I don't need, oh, you can't find this. It's right there, dummy. And it's like, I don't need that. This is, I know what I'm watching.
This is something different. This is something more original, which is exciting as film fans for us to just see major studio projects like this. Even though, like, we love Batman, yes, but, like, just to see a major studio project like this be an original story and, like, an original take on something, which is something that hasn't been really recently in Marvel and popular stuff.
Which, please, for the love of God, if anybody from Warner Bros. Or DC is listening to this, please do not let the Suits take creative control of this movie or the rest of the trilogy. Just let Matt Reeves do his thing.
I hope they do.
I think he's got it under control.
Yeah, and we're both really excited for that direction that he seems to be taking. I think they set up a really, really great world here. I think that's, like, for me, the biggest positive of this movie is the direction that they seem to be going in the world that they built.
Right. All right.
We've been recording for about 10 minutes now, 11 minutes, so do you want to do...
We can get into spoilers.
Do spoilers? All right, so this is the warning for anyone listening. We're going to be getting into spoilers now.
First big spoiler to address. Gil Coulson was the Riddler the whole time. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. If you've seen the movie, you know. There's a nightclub scene where this guy named Gil Coulson. He's the district attorney in Gotham.
The DA. Yeah.
He's just hanging out doing drugs, and Selena Kyle is. She's flirting with him to try to get information out of him, and he's just
not
like,
really,
"I am Gil."
Like, yeah, he's just so awkward. Nick and I, when we first saw it, we were like, "Oh my god, this is hilarious! This is so funny." And we were just dying, and then he just like gets the bomb wrapped around his neck. Yeah, that's it. That's his whole purpose.
He's a silly goose,
kinda,
who just dies. Who just gets blown up, and then Batman eats the explosion.
Yeah, the explosions. That's one of my problems with this movie. Is like 3 people get blown up, and everybody just walks it off.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's Batman. I don't care.
Yeah, it's Batman. The action stuff here.
The action was a little bit wild.
It was wild, but it was fun. It was fun, and I think it fit.
Like the car chase scene, after watching that again, after what I mentioned before to you privately, I was like, oh my god, he just drove off the corpse.
Yeah, I think we were both unsure in that scene, like, because I think we were both caught up the first time we watched it. We've both seen it twice, by the way. I don't know if I've said that, but, like, the first time I watched it and the first time you watched it too, I think we were just so caught up in the action because it was crazy. And then there's that sequence everyone's seen in the trailer where it blows. There's an explosion and he flies out of the explosion.
And Penguin's like, "Yes, I got you." And then he's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, we were both just like, after that, we were like, did they both just drive crazy recklessly and just ignore all the other cars on the road and just kill a ton of people? And, like, yes, I think a ton of people died in that scene.
I assume 10 to 20 people at
but
least.
it was entirely caused by the Riddler. And
no, by Penguin.
Or sorry, not the Riddler, yeah, Penguin. I don't think Batman, all the Batman movies, there are accidental kills. I don't think there's any accident. Like, I don't think he kills anybody in this movie. Like,
not that I know of.
I think he deliberately
some of those final fight scenes, when I was watching it last night, I couldn't tell with, like, the Riddler goons at the end. Like, he just kind of ducks out of the way as someone pulls the trigger, or he, like, moves somebody's arm and they shoot, and that just happens to kill the other one.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but, like, I'm not gonna say he did that.
I couldn't tell. I mean, but he's clearly
he's not trying to kill him.
No, he's not, and he's very adamantly against it. Yeah. But you did mention the Riddler. Let's talk about the Riddler.
He sucked, kind of. Not really, but
he sucked in the third act for me. Like,
the first 2 acts, he was really, really good. Yeah.
So the idea is he's sort of a vigilante trying to unmask the rich, corrupt side of Gotham. So
right.
All of his murder victims are high-profile, corrupt people. So the mayor, he kills the police commissioner, he kills the district attorney
on Bruce Wayne,
makes an attempt on Bruce,
but it blows up Alfred, sort of.
Yeah,
Alfred's fine. He just has a concussion for the night.
But yeah, and he's sort of a social media sensation. Like, he's all over the news and he's doing his thing in like little cell phone videos,
which was interesting. I liked his little cell phone videos.
I did. I thought the take on it was interesting, but I think I think you and I were both expecting something a little bit different from the character.
Yeah, you told me, oh my god, Paul Dano is a perfect casting for the Riddler. And then we both got in there, and as soon as he gets caught and he's unmasked and like everybody finds he's just kind of some dweeb. He's just weird.
Yeah.
Like he seems more psychotic than like
he's just an incel. Yeah. He's just an incel. Like I am used to like the Riddler from the Arkham games, where it's just like he's more composed. He's always one step ahead, and he's smart. And like in this movie, he's just like kind of like rageful, stupid, and like well, not stupid, but he's rageful and whiny, and just like.
Yeah,
he is a vigilante, and
it was weird though, because I thought it was. If you've seen The Incredibles, you know Syndrome. I was like, oh my god, he's just kind of like a fanboy for Batman.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he first sees Batman eye to eye, he's like smiling, and he's like, "Hi, Batman," and it's like, "Wow, your mask is amazing." And I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah. It's just, and then he does the thing. If you've seen Paul Dano in any other movies, he just is very eccentric and like. Moaning and he's just moaning in this prison cell. Like, why? Like
when I first saw it with you, we were dying. We were
laughing. Yeah, and I don't think you were supposed to be laughing, because the whole first 2 acts of this movie, he's an intimidating character. He's doing all these kills and like, and they're cool.
He was really good at it.
He was really good for the first 2 acts, and then when he gets caught, he's just like another boring terrorist supervillain. He just blows up the city at the end of the movie. I'm just like. Okay, yeah. And that was part of the thing.
But it's like for superhero movies, that's what you expect.
Which is why I didn't like it. I didn't want something I could expect. I wanted it to come down to some final. Yeah. I don't know. I wanted him, like Batman, to actually catch the Riddler and not, or like
mess up his plan.
Yeah, sometimes get one step ahead of him, not just like completely fall into his plan the whole time, and then. That plan, in the end, isn't even like the Riddler doing something.
But it's better than... Okay, I like that the city did flood. It wasn't just Batman gets there with 0.01 seconds and stops all the 7 bombs that are planted around the city. Yes. That's the worst shit I've ever seen.
Yes.
So, the fact that something happens...
Something happens, a disaster happens in this movie, and then Riddler has like an incel army that he's been building on some weird... website,
which could have been interesting. I was like, maybe the Court of Owls raised the money for detonators, but
it was just a bunch of
Court
weird,
of Owls. It's just a bunch of other copycats,
just copycat reject type people, which was an interesting idea and like could be something that would happen in today's world. But for me, it just didn't feel like that interesting of an idea, and I didn't think it was executed very well.
I don't think it was great. Yeah, I wouldn't say I was a huge fan of it.
Yeah, and then just other than that, in that third act, like when all the citizens are gathered in Gotham Square Garden, it's just... It was just a little predictable, and there's a moment where Batman is hanging off a ledge, like, about to die.
By one hand, he's hanging.
And then, of course, Catwoman saves the day. She comes in, and, like, it was just, like, that stuff.
Here's how we get to that point, right? So he gets shot in the chest with a shotgun. It was cool that they had him take a lot of bullets in this movie. I thought that was cool. He was a bullet sponge. I don't know how I felt about it.
But I think it was more realistic for, like, okay...
He would have been hit in the head at least I think
30
of those
I think
shots.
He does get shot in the head. I think they imply that the head is also bulletproof. Part of the helmet is,
but the mask can fold the mask into his backpack, and he takes it off, and it doesn't.
I think at least the back of it was implied to be. I don't know
what the hell ever.
I don't know. I thought that was a cool touch.
It's fine. I didn't really. That's just me nitpicking. I didn't care too much for that. I was like, whatever. He can take bullets. He's fine. But like, he gets shot. And he flips off, and he's holding on by one hand for the 3rd time in that sequence.
Yeah.
And then this dude, he's just loading a gun for 6 minutes straight.
This Riddler copycat dude just can't get the gun right.
Just to load one bullet in and just shoot him in the face.
Yeah, just some of that stuff felt like very...
it's like,
boring.
Someone's going to save him now.
Yeah, it's like, I've seen this movie before. So I'd say they should have tightened up that third act, like that aspect of it.
Which, that's what I was saying. They could have cut out a few of those punches. He didn't have to punch all 30 of them, and we didn't have to see all 30 punches get thrown.
Yeah. And then, last big spoiler, which probably, if you've seen any spoilers, this is probably the one you've seen, which I don't really think spoils any of the actual movie.
It didn't spoil it.
Yeah.
No.
There is a scene at the end where the Riddler's in prison and he's talking to another prisoner, and it is that other prisoner has been confirmed to be the Joker.
He was confirmed by Matt Reeves in an interview. I think it was released on IGN's YouTube. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. But Barry Keoghan, however you say his name.
He'll be playing the Joker in this universe.
Yes, and he is officially casted as unnamed Arkham prisoner.
But he's the Joker.
He's the Joker.
How do you feel about him as the Joker?
I don't want to see it. Just delete it. Just delete that scene, or just scrap the next movie if it's gonna be Joker. I don't want it to be Joker as the big bad. He's in everything.
Yeah, he is in everything. There's the Joaquin Phoenix movie, and then the Dark Knight Heath Ledger performance. And
then they just threw Jared Leto into Suicide Squad, and then they threw him into.
He's in Justice League too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Joker. He's the most popular villain. Which they're gonna want to put him in these movies.
Which don't get Nick and I wrong. We both love Joker. We think he's the coolest villain, but he's been done too many times recently. Yeah,
he is. And he's someone that could go toe-to-toe with Batman. But I think something that hasn't been done that could go toe-to-toe with Batman is the Court of Owls.
Court of Owls. Yeah. Possibly Talon, who is their, kind of just hitman, who is a physical specimen as well. Yeah. So if you don't know what the Court of Owls is, it's like it's sort of Gotham underworld. Which they hint at it in this movie.
Yes.
Which is their secret society.
Yeah. It's like a corrupt... rich people, whatever, hiding in the shadows, but they're the puppet masters.
Yeah, they're just controlling everything in the city, whatever.
Yeah, but I think that'd be a really cool idea because that is more of
It has to. They called to it multiple times in the movie. I think it's the next one. I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
I would be happy if it is because I think that fits the tone of this Gotham very well.
Another potential villain is Thomas Elliot, I think, as Hush.
Yeah, Hush. Yeah,
because they were talking about the Elliot family in one of the Riddler news videos, whatever he released to the press.
Yeah, he mentions the family briefly,
and then they just flash the word Hush right across the screen. I don't know. I think Hush would be a very cool character. I mean, the thing with Batman is he's got so many good rogues in his gallery of villains that they could do a lot of cool things.
Yeah, there is a lot that they could do with it, and I'll reiterate again, that is what we're most excited for. Is just we have a good Batman now, and it might be another 3 years before we see that second movie. I know they're gonna do some spin-off shows, but I'm all here for it.
Apparently, a couple of those are on hold.
Yeah, I heard they sort of, but even if they even just get one out, I'm excited for it. I'm all in on this world.
I hope the Penguin is coming through. I don't know if that one is. I think they said Gotham PD is put on hold for right now. But...
Yeah. Regardless of what they put out, and if Matt Reeves is behind it, or any of the people involved with this movie are behind it, I'm excited because I think the world is really cool. It's something they could build on. And it's something that I think this movie genuinely got me more excited for a superhero movie.
But do you think if they make those TV shows, they're going to do some MCU, everything has to tie in? I hope not, because that's so annoying.
I want them, if they do it in that way, I want them to...
I want it to have minimal for the next movie.
Yeah, minimal enough that the movies can still stand on their own.
Or if it's prequel, or preceding whatever happened in the first.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had to have seen the spin-off shows to understand the movie. And I think they'll do that. I trust that they will.
Again, please let Matt Reeves take control of the creative direction at DC.
Matt Reeves did a great job with this movie.
James Gunn, if he's going to make another Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
Not Zack Snyder. I'm not really a fan of Zack Snyder. Him having Batman kill people with large boxes and guns on his Batmobile. And just a boring Steppenwolf villain and whatever.
Yeah. Matt Reeves could go in a really cool direction with DC here. And we're just with the Batman universe, even if they just stick to that. Do you want to rank this one? Compare it to the other Batman movies that we've seen? You want to just give your top 5?
Top 5. I'll go...
For Batman movies of all time. Or live-action Batman movies.
Lego Batman is number 1.
Lego Batman.
I'm just kidding. Obviously Dark Knight. Everybody's gonna have the Dark Knight. That holds a special place in my heart, and as many others. It's just so seamless. They don't really have any flaws in that movie. It's a pretty safe bet for number 1. I put this at number 2. But I mean, again, I kind of go back and forth with this and Batman Begins. Batman Begins was so good for that trilogy, the Nolan trilogy, but I don't know. I really like the ride of this movie, so I put this at number 2. Batman Begins at number 3. And then it's like Dark Knight Rises or Batman 1989. I flip-flop on those two for 4 and 5.
For me, I'll put this one behind both of Nolan's first 2. So I have The Dark Knight as
number 1.
Yeah.
Batman Begins number 2.
I have The Dark Knight as number 1. Batman Begins as number 2. The Batman as number 3. And then I have 1989 Batman as number 4. Just because I love that movie, and then probably The Dark Knight Rises as 5th.
And then Lego Batman. Then Lego Batman is number 6.
Yep. No, Lego Batman is just in a league of its own. It's number 1. But yeah, that's all we've got for this first podcast. Thank you guys for listening. We will try to be doing more of these soon. I think just reviewing maybe some older stuff or just stuff that comes out. The Oscars are coming up this month. We could do an episode about that and some of the movies that win the awards there, sort of after that comes out. But
we can even see what's nominated. I'm not sure what's even going to get nominated right now because I can't think of what has recently come out.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. This has been Really Reviews.